Hello, this is Tessa Kegel, and this is HBS5OHC, Chemicals and Other Hazardous Substances, Toxicity, Reactivity, Measurement and Management of Chronic and Acute Exposures and Effects on Workers' Health, and this is Module 5, Part 2. This is the Commonwealth of Australia Copyright Act 1968. Classifications of toxic effects. Now, toxic effects can be classified in a range of different ways. As central nervous system depression, which is an anesthetic effect. So this is a reversible intoxication type effect caused by many organic gases and vapors, for example, petrol, solvents and paints. The main danger is that a person is so affected and is at much greater risk of accidents while operating machinery and so on. Of course, with very large doses of some of these depressants, actual long-term brain damage or death may ensue. Irritation, skin and respiratory. Respiratory irritation can be life-threatening by preventing the uptake of oxygen. Skin irritation can provide pain, itching, inflammation, and the skin may become broken, allowing foreign materials to enter. Acids, alkalis, and solvents are among a large number of chemical irritants. Sensitization or allergic responses for both skin and respiratory systems. So this is essentially an allergic response involving the skin or respiratory systems. Many biological materials, including antibiotics, wood and leather, can be sensitizers. Respiratory toxins, such as asbestos, crystalline silica, and so on. These substances, which occur naturally in the Earth's crust, can damage lung tissues, causing severe shortness of breath and other difficulties. Liver toxins. The liver is a very important organ with a number of important functions. Substances which can affect the liver include certain chlorinated organic substances. Ethyl alcohol on a chronic basis can also have such an effect. Kidney toxins. The kidneys are responsible for excretion by producing urine. Certain heavy metals and their compounds, for example mercury compounds, can affect the kidneys. Nervous system toxins. These can damage the nerves in the brain, spinal cord, or nerves in the body. Examples include heavy metal compounds such as those of lead and mercury. Circulatory system toxins affect the blood and its components such as red blood cells. A well-known example is carbon monoxide, which affects the blood's capability to carry oxygen to the various tissues, notably the brain. Reproductive toxins can affect the reproductive parts of males, sperm, and females, the eggs, and hence the whole or part of the chain of reproductive activities leading to fertilization. Teratogens are chemicals affecting the fetus, but not the adult. This can result in the birth of deformed children. Some viruses, such as German measles or rubella, are well-known teratogens. Mutagens are agents which produce alterations in cells that then affect subsequent generations of cells and sometimes subsequent generations of individuals. Carcinogens are cancer-causing agents, for example, asbestos and benzene, which is a component part of petrol, which sometimes results in cells or tissues that grow uncontrollably in the body. So what are some of the effects of asphyxiants? Asphyxiation results from the depletion of oxygen in breathable air or by the inhalation of toxic gases that bond preferentially to the hemoglobin in the blood. Simple asphyxiants act by replacing air, which causes a drop in oxygen concentration from its normal value of 21%. Symptoms for oxygen deficiency are an increased rate and depth of breathing. Oxygen concentrations less than 16% by volume cause dizziness, rapid heartbeat, and headache. Oxygen deficiency can be a problem in confined spaces such as tanks and tunnels, or where chemical or biological activity has depleted the level of free oxygen, for example in sewers and in drains. Simple asphyxiants include carbon dioxide, halogenated hydrocarbons, helium, argon, neon, and nitrogen. Chemical asphyxiants react either with the hemoglobin, the oxygen-carrying molecule in the blood, or act on the respiratory system, causing spasms and interrupted breathing. The concentrations of chemical asphyxiants that cause asphyxiation may be very small. Examples of chemical asphyxiants are carbon monoxide and cyanides. Metal absorption. Metals may be absorbed into the body through inhalation of dusts or fumes or by the gastrointestinal tract through food and water. The absorption depends on a range of different factors. First of all, the solubility of the metal in intestinal fluids, the physiological condition of the individual, including the individual's age, other materials present in the intestinal tract, for example, vitamin D enhances the absorption of lead, the chemical form of the metal, for example, methyl mercury is soluble in body fat and is readily absorbed, whereas inorganic mercury is poorly absorbed. And finally, competition between metals such as zinc and cadmium or lead and calcium. Metal excretion. Elimination of metals from the body occurs principally via renal elimination. Mercury, lead, and cadmium are important nephrotoxic agents. Nephrotoxic agents affect the excretory functions of the kidney, which may lead to renal failure and poisoning by the body's own waste products. Other nephrotoxic metals of lesser concern are arsenic, bismuth, chromium, platinum, thallium, and uranium. Metal toxicity. Metals may affect the body in a number of different ways. First of all, through enzyme inhibition. Toxic metals may react with proteins to alter enzymatic or structural functions. Secondly, through binding effects. Metals may bind to vitamins and substances in the body, thus altering the availability of these components for important biological functions. Thirdly, through substitution. Toxic metals may substitute for chemically similar metals in essential body functions such as protein structure, enzymic catalysts, osmotic balance, and transport processes. And finally, chemical imbalance. An excess of a given metal may lead to depletion of an essential metal. For example, copper deficiency may be caused by an excessive but non-toxic exposure to zinc. Cadmium intoxication leads to necrosis in the intestine, which is prevented by sufficient zinc. Lead intoxication alters tissue levels of many essential elements such as iron, zinc, copper, and cadmium. Epidemiological study and experimental investigations tend to confirm that metals may cause mutations and tumours. Nickel causes cancer of the nose and lungs. High levels of lead can cause renal tumours in rodents, but lead has not been identified as a human carcinogen. Lead is used extensively in storage batteries, cable sheathing, pigments, alloys, and electronics. The use of lead in petrol is progressively being phased out with the introduction of unleaded petrol. Exposure to lead may come from a range of different sources. These might include mining and smelting, cutting and welding lead-painted surfaces, manufacture of lead storage batteries, and production of lead-based paints, although this is being phased out. 90% of lead absorbed in the body is from bones, with the kidneys and liver accounting for most of the remaining 10%. The half-life of lead in bone is 10 to 20 years, while the half-life in soft tissue is several months. The most frequently encountered signs of lead poisoning are muscle weakness and paralysis, weight loss, constipation or colic, anemia or pallor, headache, loss of memory, irritability, lassitude or insomnia. Acute lead poisoning is treated by the intravenous administration of calcium, which captures the lead ions and allows a more ready excretion. Corrosive chemicals. Corrosive chemicals are a hazard because they will burn the skin on contact, and if splashed in the eyes may lead to blindness. Corrosive chemicals may be liquids, solids, powders, dusts, gases, or vapours. Examples of corrosive materials are strong acids or alkalis, and a number of strongly acidic or alkaline salts and gases. Vapours of strong acids and alkalis are particularly dangerous because they are easily inhaled and cause burning of the soft mucous tissues in the eyes, mouth, throat and lungs. Corrosive materials should be handled with appropriate hand and face protection in a well-ventilated hood. Irritant chemicals may cause inflammation of the respiratory tract, eyes, skin or digestive tract, causing bronchitis or dermatitis. For example, chromate found in cement dust. Many substances are known to cause irritant contact dermatitis. Now, this is the pictogram for may cause skin irritation. Some common irritants, the skin irritants, include water, where constant immersion or frequent hand washing causes the leaking out of natural oils. Alkalis, sodium silicate and lime. Cement, ammonium and soda. Acids, although these are less dangerous than alkalis. Oils, which may contain emulsifiers, antioxidants and anti-corrosion agents and preservatives. Organic solvents, including aromatic solvents, benzene-related substances, and these are especially irritating. Sensitizers are substances which, after repeated exposure, induce an allergic reaction in the host, such as contact dermatitis or asthma. Sensitization affects only a small proportion of exposed individuals, but if hypersensitivity results, it's usually necessary to permanently remove the worker from exposure to this particular sensitizer. Certain wood dusts, notably dust from teak and western red cedar, are sensitizers, as are many seeds, cereals, gums and feathers. In some cases, the onset of allergy is immediate, and thus the cause is readily identifiable. For some cases, however, the allergic reaction may not occur for some time, even after a number of days after exposure, and may therefore be linked to a cause which is unrelated to the occupation. Now, on the left-hand side, you have the GHS pictogram for may cause allergy or asthma, so symptoms of breathing difficulties if inhaled. On the right-hand side, you have the GHS pictogram for may cause an allergic skin reaction. Carcinogens. Carcinogens are substances which cause cancers or malignant tumours that spread to other parts of the body. An increasing number of chemical substances are causing alarm because of this ability to cause cancer or other defects in humans. Many carcinogens occur naturally in the food we eat or are caused by processing of the food prior to eating. A number of industrial processes are also suspected of contributing to the incidence of cancers amongst the workforce. And this image is the GHS pictogram may cause cancer. And if you recall, it was also used for the sensitizer image for an allergic reaction, including asthma. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, or IARC, which is a branch of the World Health Organization, groups chemicals and industrial processes into three groups on the basis of available evidence assessed in an ongoing process by world experts in cancer research. Group 1 chemicals are known human carcinogens. Group 2 chemicals are suspected human and or animal carcinogens. They're divided into groups A and B, where A is a substance with some evidence that it is a carcinogen in humans, and B substances show less evidence for causation of human cancers, but there is evidence that they cause cancer in animals. Group 3 lists chemicals for which there is insufficient evidence available to evaluate whether they cause cancer. And finally, mutagens and teratogens. Mutagens are substances that cause a change in the genetic material of cells and may be similarly subdivided to carcinogens. Teratogens are substances which are capable of producing abnormalities in a developing fetus and may also be subdivided as above.